Tivachalam Kangum Langayate Girim Satkripatamaham Mande Shigurum Deenatarinam Mataham Jagatapiklava Ishwarasya Sarvatmana Mahigranam Yathamanisham Nicho Jayo Guna Visarga Anustravishta Uyeta Hipaman Varnitena. Hare Krishna. So I welcome all of you for continuation of this Bhakti Vaibhava. So we will continue our discussion from yesterday. So yesterday we began a very beautiful chapter, one of the very special chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, that is prayers of Queen Kunti. Of course, we have not begun the prayers. Prayers will begin in the verse number 18. So we have reached till verse number 7. Right? So yesterday we discussed till after the battle, Krishna tested Arjuna, and Arjuna's sense of duty was fully glorified for everyone of us to understand by Krishna by enacting the pastimes of Ashwathama. Ashwathama ko maar diya jaye ke chhod diya jaye. So Krishna told you do both, and you please me also and please all the Vaishnavas. So Arjuna could take proper decision because of his proper foundation of knowledge, his depth and connection with Krishna. So both things. So we saw that beautifully yesterday, how Krishna and his devotees are going to test us before going back to Godhead. And without test, we cannot make progress. Just as in material education, we cannot progress without test. So in spiritual life, there will be more tests, and they will not be information test as you write in the material world. We just use our intelligence and memory and write. This test is of heart. Test is of everything actually. As we discussed yesterday, that His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says that culmination of all our study of scriptures and sadhan and seva is to respond in a proper way in a spur of moment. So that one important thing we saw. And then we saw that how Krishna actually was enactor of the battle. He is the one who started the battle. He inspired Arjuna to fight the battle. And at the end, after everything is done, then he is going to pacify those who have lost their sons. So Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Subhadra, all of them. So that's what first 7 verses we are talking about. That how Krishna pacified them. He went along with them for giving the water of Ganges to the departed souls. And not only that, he emotionally pacified them, but he enlightened them also. Because Shoka, Moha and Bhaya, and especially Shoka, cannot go without Tattva. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, after he returned from Bangladesh, because of his separation, his first wife left her body. So Sachi Mata was in great shoka. So that time also it is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being Supreme Lord, also pacified her mother by telling Tattva like this. Kila Sachira Vimochan. Like that there is verse. So that aspect we saw yesterday. How pacifying measures can be done for the shoka of this world, which comes because of bodily consciousness, the pacifying measure, the essence or summary of pacifying measure is hearing from pure devotees. Because they inject the transcendental knowledge in the bewildered heart of living entity. Prabhupada is saying like that. So that is the pacifying measure, because they wake us up from this bodily consciousness, which causes the shoka, moha, bhaya, etc. So that's what we saw yesterday. So we continue ahead. Lord resists. So Lord was about to leave actually. Vedvyas and all other sages, they worshipped him. knowing him to be the Supreme Lord, but Lord being acting like a king, and so he reciprocated their worship by accepting the worship. So pujitaha pratipujitaha, that is the word in the 7th verse. So we continue from yesterday, from verse number text 8. So now from text 8 onwards till text 17, there is a beautiful pastime of how Uttara is seeking shelter of Krishna. Because Krishna is about to leave to Dwarka. He is already sitting on chariot also. That's what will, but that is the time this fellow Ashwathama is again attacking the Pandavas, and especially this time he is attacking the womb of Uttara, because he wants to finish all the dynasty of Pandavas. So that pastime will begin from verse number 8 to verse number 17. This whole pastime is told here in a very short, in which there are prayers of Uttara, and Uttara's devotion is seen. So let us begin with text 8. Text 8. Gantum kritam itir brahman dvarakayam ratha nastitah upalebhe bhyadvantim uttaram bhayavibhalam. Please read the translation.
As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear.
Yeah. So your voice was little breaking, but I hope my voice is clear. So here the setting is told that just as he was sitting on Rath, and he saw Uttara coming with great fear towards him. Uttaram bhaya vibhalam. So Srila Prabhupada here in the purport explains a very essential principle of bhakti, actually, because every one of us is practicing bhakti from so many years, right? But the essential aspect of bhakti is dependence on Krishna. Whosoever you are, you can be ABC or GVC or PDC, but how much dependent you are on Krishna is your depth of Krishna consciousness. This is what actually His Grace Sankarshan Das Adhikari Prabhu, who comes here regularly, he was answering to one devotee's question, that what it means to go deeper in Krishna consciousness. He said deeper in Krishna consciousness means we are at every moment we are depending on Krishna. So that's what Prabhupada writes. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely on him is especially looked after the Lord. So there is protection for everyone, and everyone is actually dependent on Lord. But one who depends completely, Lord specifically takes into account to protect them. So there will be full dependence, there is partial dependence, and there is independence. So here it is being spoken fully dependent. The father is more attentive to little son who is exclusively dependent. Exclusive means he doesn't have anyone else. Like that story of Gandhiji's wife, no? She was sent away by Gandhiji. And then what she could do? She just sat outside home. What I can do? I cannot do anything without you. So like that, similar feeling needs to be awakened towards the Supreme Lord. So exclusive dependence is the symptom of exclusive devotion. So that's what actually the point Prabhupada is emphasizing here. The protection of Lord depends on the dependence on our dependence on him. So more we are ignorant, more we think we are the doers. More we think we are doers, more we lack the dependence of the Supreme Lord. Because what happens? When we see I am Karta, I am the doer, then where is the question of dependency? I am the doer, then Lord is not. Lord, you bless me that I can do more. Like that. So one may pray like that also. I did this much, I want to do this much more. So prayer is good that you want to do more for Lord. But in heart of our hearts, we can understand actually I can't do anything, I cannot know anything, I cannot possess anything. So as soon as we think that we are doer, we are stealing the quality of dependence of the Lord. Lord is actually independent. So we steal his quality and we say, I am the doer. So now you cannot interfere in. So you are stealing from Lord, then who will attack? Maya will attack immediately. So that's what Bhaktivedanta Vidyabhushan says there. So dependence is the very, very essential factor of Krishna consciousness. That is exhibited very nicely here by Uttara. And apparently you will feel that she is saving her life. But see her prayers, you can understand. She has no tinge of selfishness when she is asking for protection. So let us see what she is saying. Text 9. Uttaro vacha pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyam tvabhayam pashe yatra mrityu parasparam. Please read the translation.
Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality.
Yeah. So pahi pahi mahayogi. Hey, greatest of the mystic, protect me, protect me. Deva deva jagatpate. You are the Lord of Lords and you are Jagatpati. Nanyam tad abhayam pashe. No one can award me this fearlessness other than you. Because all other people other than you and your pure devotees, what they are doing? Yatra mrityu parasparam. So their all interactions are actually what is there? They are helping each other to go closer to death. That's all. Or they are, in one sense, they are giving each other death like that. Yatra mrityu parasparam. Parasparam means among them. So only you can give me the fearlessness. Please protect me. So like that she is saying. And that's what exclusivity is mentioned here. Nanyam tvad bhayam pash. I cannot see anyone other than you who can protect me. So Prabhupada here tells the nature of this material world. And how in this material world, everyone is envious of everyone else. So Prabhupada is writing here, in the absolute world, Lord is absolute Lord and all others are the absolute servitors. In the world of duality, everyone is envious of all others. And death is inevitable due to existence of matter and spirit. So this is the stratum or the foundation of material consciousness and material world. That there is envy, there is irisha, there is competition, there is comparison. This is what happens, and that creates fear. And why there is envy? Because of their wish is affected by dual existence, matter and spirit. So they think some part of matter belongs to me and some other person thinks some part of matter belongs to me. So there is fear, there is competition, all these things are there. So bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshatasya. So the root cause of fear is due to the dvandva perception, which happens because of not seeing towards the Lord. So that's what is being said here. So actually, a devotee, as one is practicing devotional service, natural symptom of a devotee is actually Madhyamadhikari is supposed to be non-envious. So we should approach that quality as much as possible. Because envy is the thing which has brought us here. So envy in root means any negativity we have about anyone, which is the rootest thought level envy, and which grows in form of hatred, criticism, and blasphemy. And trying to harm others, trying to pull others down. Like that, it becomes grosser and grosser and grosser. So Prabhupada writes this statement at least 3 to 4 places I have written. That material world means everyone is envious of everyone else. And that's what is the cause of problem. And because of that, we cannot understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam is what? Nirmat Saranam Sata. So why devotee is not envious? because his goal is not material. His goal is to serve Krishna and to go back to Godhead. So there is no question of envy because everyone can go. Envy exists because there is limitation in matter. I can attain or he can attain. Here, on the pathway back to Godhead or pure devotional service, everyone can be successful. So there is no envy. So that's how the goal, because of the material goal, envy creeps in. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. The nature of this world is everyone is envious of everyone else. Text 10. So she is telling what happened. Abhidravati mamisha sarastaptaya so vibho kamam dahat mam natha megharbho nipatyatam. Yes, please read the translation.
Oh my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire. But please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord.
Yeah, so she is expressing. So here Vishwanath Thakur says, hey, Uttara, how you are saying like that? Just now your husband died and you are now widow actually. Why you want to live? Are you not ashamed? Like that Vishwanath Thakur says. Why you want to live? If your husband has left in the battle, the chaste lady actually enters the fire only. But she didn't enter because she was having child. That's why. So she is asking like that. Krishna is asking her, are you not ashamed? So she is saying, no, my Lord, I am not asking to help, protect me. I am asking that there is child in my womb. You protect him. I am not asking for my protection. I am asking for the life of the child which is there in my womb, which is the future of this dynasty. So for that I am praying. So that is what is explained in this particular verse. So Prabhupada takes this point of the great affection of Uttara for her child. So the affection of mother for a child is one of the most selfless one. That's what Prabhupada says. So Prabhupada writes that only in this particular purport. The mother of a child has a great responsibility of giving protection to the child. And therefore Uttara was not ashamed. And she frankly, in public, frankly means what? In public she is saying. And Uttara is not a very, very exalted lady basically. She is the daughter of a great king, that is Virat. She is a wife of a great hero, that is Abhimanyu. She is a student of great devotee. So Prabhupada is glorifying her in a so big, very beautiful way. Student of great devotee. That is who? Student of who?
Arjun.
Yeah, Arjuna in form of
Brihanala.
Eunuch. And actually she was attracted to him only. But he said that I see you as daughter. Later, and she was mother of good king also. That is Parikshit Maharaj. So she was extremely fortunate lady. What kind of connection she has? See? Mother, father, and child, everything. So Uttara is a great devotee actually. Text 11. Having heard that, what Lord does? Suta uvacha upadharya vachastasya bhagavan bhaktavatsala apandavamidam kartum Draunerastramadudhyata. Please read the translation.
Suta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Sri Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandavas family.
Yeah, Apandavamidam kartum. That was his sankalpa. See, just now that incident has happened. And Ashwatthama has been punished and he has been left alive. But again, this is envy. This is envy which makes one act illogically. So now again this Ashwatthama is sending Brahmastra. And his desire is, please mute yourself. Some disturbance is coming. Yeah, thank you. So He is again sending Brahmastra, and this time he is sending 6 Brahmastra. 1 on the womb, inside the womb, and 5 for the 5 Pandavas. Because Apandavam idam. I want to destroy the dynasty of Pandavas. But Lord could understand, because Lord is Paramatma in his heart. Lord understood what has happened, and he immediately took action, because he is a Bhakta Vatsalaha. So this is another very important quality of the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada in the purport, he explains that quality only, that Lord is impartial in every aspect, but he is inclined towards his devotee. He is apparently partial towards his devotee. So we will see this particular principle prayed in prayers of Kunti Maharani in more details. But here, Lord is inclined toward devotee in a sense that he wants well-being of entire earth, because he wants a right king. So Parikshit is going to become king, who is a devotee. So Lord is inclined here for well-being of everyone. That's what Prabhupada is writing. Lord is inclined towards his devotees because there is a great necessity of this for everyone's well-being. Not that only Lord has some. Lord cannot have personal interest, because everyone belongs to him. So his every interest is for everyone. Like Maharaj, Radha Govind Maharaj says that उनके सभी अपने ही है, तो फिर पराया कोई है ही नहीं, कम से लेके सब अपने ही है, तो मारेंगे तो भी प्रेम से ही मारते हैं. Well-being is the nature of the Lord. Samam bonam, that's why it is called. So that's what Prabhupada glorifies the Bhakta Vatsalya of Krishna, and Krishna's desire that devotees should rule, actually. Text 12. I read the translation.
O foremost amongst, please read, Mataji.
O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Shaunaka, seeing the flaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons.
Yeah. So as it was mentioned that he sent 6 Brahmastras. So actually Brahmastra is such a astra, very unique astra, that it can be seen by one who has sent, and it can be seen by one on which it is sent. Right? So Pandavas also could understand that Brahmastra is sent towards us. So immediately they took, and wanting to respond, but there was no time actually. So Brahmastra proceeding towards them, they saw Pandavas took up 5 respective weapons. They took the weapons, but actually there is no time actually. We saw in earlier chapter that actually Brahmastra sending requires such previous, you do Achman, you have to meditate, chant Gayatri Mantra, etc. So that's what. So Prabhupada again punches to the current science that this science is very gross. You send one bomb, you cannot retract, you cannot do. So that's what he says. That technology is very profound. Without harming the innocent, the Brahmastra was able to destroy what you want to destroy without destroying outsiders. So this was the finer technology. So Prabhupada takes the opportunity to tell the scientists that please look here. Here there is finer technology in Bhagavatam. Yeah. So text 30. Please read the translation.
Prabhuji, you are not visible to us. Just
Really? I don't know. Oh, since when, Prabhu?
just about 4-5 minutes. No, just 5 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't know. Somehow it got clicked, I think.
Should I read translation?
Yes, Prabhu.
The Almighty Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were truly, fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarshan disc to protect them.
Yeah. Vyasanam vikta tattesham. He saw the calamity on them. Ananya Vishayatmana. Their heart is what? Ananya Vishayatmana. They are completely surrendered devotees. And calamity was them. So immediately Lord responded, Sudarshanena swastrena swanam raksha vyadadhat vibhu. Vibhu means greatly powerful. He can do anything and everything, almighty. So swanam means his own people who are vishayatmanam. So only vishayatmanam can become swanam. Krishna's own people means they don't have any other anna vilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anabhata. That kind of devotees. So he immediately protected by Sudarshan Chakra. So 6 weapons, imagine. So Sudarshan Disc protected externally the Pandavas, and we'll see ahead how about what happened in the womb. Yeah. So Prabhupada in this purport takes this word wish, Ananya Vishayatmakam Raksha. So that only he comments about the Ananya Vishaya. Yeah. No, yeah, so this already we discussed. Knowing that all that Sri Krishna once took upon his personal weapon to protect his devotees. Who are his devotees? Many times I also consider myself to be his devotee, or maybe trying to be his devotee. So his devotees means who did not know anyone other than Krishna. Sadhunam hridayam mayam, sadhunam tu aham. Madatyan anyattena jananti naham tegyo manavavat. Lord is telling to Durvas Muni that sadhus are those who don't know anything other than me, and I don't know anything without them. That's the Vishayatmana. So Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita saying that Lord is promised, that my devotee will never be vanquished. And he behaves according to the quality and degree of devotion. Quality and degree of devotional service. Yeah. Rendered by the devotees. Ananya Vishayatmakam is significant. So see, Prabhupada is saying that it is not just devotional service, but it is quality of devotional service and degree of devotion. Means what? Quality means there is no other mixture. Ahaituki, that is called quality. Say na, Shuddha ghee, Shuddha milk, Doodh mein pani. So that is quality. And degree means the consistency of it. Ahaituki apratihata. Without any, the depth of it, the consistency of it, the intensity of it. So that's why quality or proposition, quality or degree. So we can take these two meanings of the purity of practice of Pandavas, Ananya Vishaya. So he took his own weapon. Actually, see, battle is not yet over in one sense. So he broke his vow also to protect. So Prabhupada glorifies Krishna here very beautifully, that Lord is more eager to protect his devotees, and he prefers to be continued as known as Bhaktavatsala rather than to be known as so-called moralist, that I took vow, I will not break that vow, and I am moral. So like that, he don't want to be known as moral, but he wants to please his devotees. He wants to protect his devotees. So that's why Prabhupada is writing. Please read this last line. But the emergency was more.
But the emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as Bhaktavatsala, or the lover of his devotee, and thus he preferred to continue as Bhaktavatsala than to be worldly moralist who never breaks his solemn vow.
Yeah. So actually, externally it appears that he has broken his vow, but actually he has promised devotees that I will never fail to protect my devotees. So he actually followed his own vow, which he made to his devotees, right, in Bhagavad Gita. So that's the point, actually, if you see internally. So he didn't break the vow in the sense of his connection with his devotees. So apparently he broke the vow of some particular for time frame he had taken, that in Yuddha I will not take weapon. That kind of. So earlier also for Bhishma he protected. Right? So Bhishma will pray in the next chapter, you will see. So text 14. Anthastha sarva bhutanam yogeshwaro atma yogeshwaro harihi Swamayaya avranodgarbham vairatyah purutantave. Please read the translation. The Lord of the Supreme Mysticism, Shri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as the Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. So, previous verse explained about he used his Sudarshan Chakra to protect Pandavas from 5 Brahmas. Now here, he is protecting Parikshit by his own personal energy, and he entered. That's what Vishwanath said. Although he is there in the heart as Paramatma, but he as Bhagavan entered into her heart, and you will see that, I think that it will come that how Parikshit Maharaj saw it. Parikshit Maharaj got darshan of that Lord who came inside, and ate, much size, and with he is rotating the Angulashta Matrena like that. So that is not explained here, but elsewhere in Bhagavatam. So he saw. So Lord personally protected him by his club rotating all over the womb. So that is what happened here. Because he is Yogeshwara, he is Hari. So he is the power mystic, Lord of all mysticism. So he can be present within, without, simultaneous. Right? So that's how the Lord of Prabhupada is saying, the Lord of Supreme Mysticism can simultaneously reside within everyone's heart, within everyone's atom as Paramatma. At the same time, as a Bhagavan, he is sitting there also and is entering also. So this is all happening. This is the power of Bhagavan. So going further, text 15. Yeah, please read the translation quickly.
O Saunaka, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Krishna.
So just this Brahmastra was actually irresistible. Brahmastra is very powerful weapon. But Lord could do that because Lord is Vibhu. Lord is most powerful. So that's what is told in this verse. Text 16. Please read the translation.
O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he maintains and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn.
Yeah. So here, Sud Goswami, seeing the faces of the audience, he is feeling Hare Krishna. Yes. So he is kind of saying that, my dear Prabhu, don't think that this is very, very mysterious. The same Supreme Lord is creating this world, maintaining this world and annihilating his world simply by desire, by his own Maya. For him, this is small act, what you just now saw, which is quite inconceivable. So, ma mamsa hi etad ascharyam. Don't think that this is very mysterious. For Lord's all activities are mysterious. He is creating, maintaining, destroying this material world. Ya idam mayaya devya srujati avati hanti ajaha. So that's how Sud Goswami is trying to tell that his audience that don't become too much astonished. This is no astonishment for Lord. For Lord's activities are extremely astonishing. Achintya. So going further, now the Lord is 100% perfect, whereas other, namely Narayana, Brahma, Shiva, demigods and all other living beings possess only different percentage of such perfection. No one is equal to or greater than him. He is unrivaled. So here specifically Krishna is being glorified. So Krishna is beyond even Narayana. So in first few chapters, you heard that verse. What is that? Ete cham sakala pungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan. So only Swayam Bhagavan is Krishna. He has all powers in all capacity. But Narayana, then any other expansion, beginning from Balaram to then Narayan and then Chaturvyu and then Vishnu in the material world, Brahma, Shiva, they all are powerful, but they possess percentage of such perfection. So Narayana has 60 qualities, Shiva has 55 qualities, Brahma has 50 qualities, and Jiva has in minute quality 50 qualities. So like that Aishwarya, like that, all the aspects actually. All the powers are fully present in Krishna. And all others are servants of Krishna, actually. That's what Chaitanya Charitamrita mentioned. So here Ashraya Tattva is indicated. Text 17. Now this is what is being seen by Kunti Devi. See, Lord is about to leave means imagine how many people will be there. Supreme Personality, Krishna, Vyas, they were all worshipping him, and so whole actually Dwarka Vasis, Hastinapur Vasis will be there. And this is all witnessed by Kunti very closely. She saw Uttara, she is understanding what is happening. The 17th verse is setting that scene. Yeah. Please read the translation.
Thus saved from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kunti, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons and Draupadi addressed Lord Krishna as he started for home.
Yeah. So Kunti Maharani seeing such protection which is just recently given. So she is already extremely grateful to Krishna for her protection of her as well as her sons. So already her heart is overflowing with gratitude already. And she doesn't want Krishna to go actually. But still Krishna is now going. That is the time last protection is happening of Parikshit. And she is seeing everything in front of her. So her emotions could not remain in her heart. Like that is mentioned by Acharya. That understanding everything that Krishna has done recently, Kunti was unable to tolerate the agitation caused by the great respect which came in her heart. So she could not resist her emotion of appreciation and respect for Krishna. So she started offering her emotions. Beautiful prayers of Queen Kunti are there from next text. So that is the setting of this verse. So here Prabhupada specifically writes about how devotee takes shelter. So a chaste devotee of Lord does not look to others, namely any other living being or demigod, even for deliverance from danger. So this is ananyata. Nothing. They know nothing except Krishna. Therefore, Lord was always ready to help them in all respects, in all circumstances. That is the transcendental nature of the Lord. So, very beautiful statement is there here. He reciprocates the dependence of devotee. So, Lord reciprocates the dependence of devotee. So, same thing we discussed earlier also. Here, Prabhupada is coining a very brilliant statement here. How much we are dependent on Krishna, to that degree he will reciprocate with us. So, dependence is something very individual and internal, which one has to introspect. How much, when I am running and if I fall, then what I cry. That is the test of our dependence. If we are driving vehicle and something happens, then what comes to our mouth, or what comes to our mind, that is our dependence. So it is not artificial. Such a chaste devotee also never asks for the help, Lord for help, but the Lord out of his own accord is always anxious to help. So this is another level of dependence, that actually such chaste devotee like Kunti or Uttara, they don't even ask for help for themselves. They never ask. Ambrish Maharaj, we have example. Did Ambrish Maharaj ask? Prahlad Maharaj asked anything? They didn't ask actually. They didn't even pray actually. They were just remembering Krishna. But Krishna was attentive to them. And for Amrish Maharaj, Krishna has personally given his Sudarshan Chakra's protection. Right? This is for you. So, Lord is more concerned for people who are actually constantly thinking about him and his service and his pleasure. A genuine devotee doesn't ask even for help also. So, this is a very exalted platform. But Prabhupada is writing that exalted platform at the end. That's why it's called chaste. So, chaste devotee is, he doesn't go anywhere else and he doesn't ask for anyone else. That is his chastity. But Lord, out of his own accord, he always is anxious to render the help. So that's what. So now, Vishwanath Chakravarti, so this already I said. That the overwhelming emotions are there in the heart of Kunti, which are mercifully shared by Srila Sukadeva Goswami for all of us. So actually, prayers of Bhagavatam are one of the most important things to understand, to peep in the heart of a pure devotee. Actually, because that's the most confidential thing in the creation. It's very difficult to understand what is heart of a pure devotee. But in the prayers, we can understand, we can get a glimpse of what is their heart. So the beauty, one of the best prayers, one of the most appreciated prayers, one of the most commented heavily by Acharyas and Prabhupada prayers. There is one full book called Teachings of Queen Kunti, which was compiled because Prabhupada personally spoke on these verses. There are video lectures available of Srila Prabhupada. So, brilliant lectures which are compiled in form of Teachings of Queen Kunti. So that's why these are very, very important prayers. So we'll try to spend good amount of time in these prayers, understanding what is Kunti Maharani's feelings towards the Lord, her understanding of the Lord, her aspirations for association of the Lord. So all these things we'll see. So before entering into the prayers, we will see some overview of the prayers so that we are seeing the bird's eye view, and then we zoom it into one section and then go inside it so that we can understand properly. So let us see briefly the overview of the prayers. So actually it is from 18 to 27, not just 18 to 27, that is what you are seeing now, and there are 28 to 40. So this is another slide which you are seeing now. So till these are the prayers, 18 to 27 and till 43. So you can see, so 18 to 27, what is Kunti Maharani praying? So first two verses are speaking about how Krishna is imperceivable in this world. Three verses are speaking, offering respects while describing imperceivability of Krishna, alakshatvam. So 18, 19 and 20. Then the two verses are speaking about how Lord is Sukhadatva, he is giver of happiness and he is remover of misery. So two verses are speaking. So these verses generally we decide, no? Like Krishnaya Vasudevaya. So that verse is what 21st verse, and 22nd verse is Namo Pankaja Nabhaya, Namo Pankaja Maline, Tapaharitva. So we'll see how deep are these prayers actually. It is just appears to be just set of names, but what are the mood of Kunti Maharani? We'll understand. So these two verses are of saying that you are giver of happiness, you are remover of distress for many great devotees. And even you are Tapaharitva for me also. So for next three verses, 23, 24, 23 and 24, these verses are speaking about how Krishna is remover of my tapa also. Swatapaharitva. So you have us in all the problems. So she is enlisting all of them, right? So those famous verses of Vishan Mahagne, Purushad Darshanat, etc. So those verses are there, 23, 24. And then very essential section, that is what is true wealth of a devotee and what is real calamity of a devotee. What is vipad, what is sampad for devotee and for Lord. What is real wealth and what is real calamity. So Kunti Maharani is defining that in 3 verses, 25, 26, 27. So here you will see those verses where she is asking, give me more misery. Or she is praying to Krishna that Janma Ishwarya Shitaschibhir. And so those prayers are here, 25 to 27. So this is the first section of prayer. After that, so we'll try to cover these prayers. Let us see how much we can go. But ahead of this, I will very briefly tell from 28 to 43 what is there. So she basically speaks about what are different, how difficult it is to understand Krishna's past. So that is one section, Vidambanam. Then there is one section of about the birth of the Lord. Different people think about different reasons that Lord appeared. But what is the actual reason of Lord's appearance? And at the end, he will tell that, my dear Lord, please don't go. It is not appropriate for you to go now. So we want your association. And then she prays towards the end that, let my mind be fully fixed on you, like Ganges, Mother Ganges. No? Please cut my family ties also. So these all things will come towards the end. Her culmination of prayer, very beautiful prayer. And she ends with Nam Sankirtan, chanting the names of the Lord. So you see in this prayer, the second section is all about the activities of Lord and birth of the Lord. And now today's are also about how Lord cannot be perceived. So you see, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha taktva deham punarjanma naiti mame kusu. Actually, many prayers you will see in Bhagavatam, they address these aspects of Lord's Janma and Karma. You saw Arjuna's prayer also, only 4 verses, but there also he is telling why Lord appears and what is his activity. Vilajyamanaya. No, not that one. He speaks about position of the Lord. So that's why it's very important to understand these prayers where the depths of their devotion is expressed. So let us begin with the first section. So what is the first section? Offering respects while imperceptible, describing the imperceivability of Krishna. Alakshatva. Because Krishna is present but achintya bhedabhed, one cannot see. So who can see Krishna, who cannot see Krishna? Or perceive Krishna, not just see. So that is there. Let us begin with the very first prayer, very beautiful prayer of Srila Kunti Maharani. So let us first offer prayers to Kunti Maharani for blessing us to understand what she is saying. Because Kunti Maharani is a great devotee of Krishna. She is a success potency according to Prabhupada. It appears her life is all of no success, but she is success potency of the Lord. So let us offer prayers. Just remember seeking her blessings to understand her prayers, to understand and serve Krishna. Hare Krishna. So Kunti Maharani ki jai. So let us begin her beautiful prayers. The most intelligent woman, Prabhupada titles that chapter, So 18 to 20. So I request all of you to recite at least few of the prayers after me. All verses you can recite with me, but few verses I would request you to recite after me. Right? So you do the needful and try your best to be as attentive as possible in this prayer. We will get association of Kunti Maharani. So difficulty in understanding Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Kunti Uvacha. So this verse we will recite after me. Kunti Uvacha.
Kunti Uvacha.
Namaste Purusham Tvadyam.
Namaste Purusham Tvadyam.
Ishwaram Prakrute Param.
ईश्वरं वन्दे परम्
अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानां
अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानाम्
अंतर्बहिरवस्थितम्.
अन्तर्बहिरवस्थितम्.
Yeah, please read the translation.
Srimati Kunti said,
Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all.
Yeah. So here first she is offering obeisance. Now Lord may say that, my dear Kunti Maharani, I am your nephew. Why you are offering me obeisances? It is like embarrassing, no? Offering obeisances to nephew. So namaste. So Krishna is telling as if, why you are offering me? I am your nephew. You are my aunt. Kunti is saying, no, you are not my nephew. You are Purusham. Krishna may say, there are so many Purushas here. I am not the only Purush. No, you are Purusham Tvam Adyam. You are Adya Purush. You are the original Purush. You are the first supreme person. Purusham, original person. So actually, original means what? Eternal. So every jiva is also eternal only. Krishna may say like that. So she says, no, not only you are Adya Purush, you are Ishwaram also. You are controller. All jivas are not controllers. You are Ishwaram, she says. Then Krishna says that, okay, there are Indra, Chandra, Vayu, they are also Ishwaram. No, you are Prakrutehe Param. You are beyond the Prakruti. You are beyond the three modes which are controlled by Maya, Prakrutihi. You are Prakrute Param. You are not like Indra, Chandra, Vayu. They are Ishwaras, but they are not Prakrute Param. So you are Prakrute Param. So Lord may say that, you mean to say that I am Paramatma? So she says, no. Alaksham. See, Paramatma can be perceived by intelligence. An intelligent person, if he does intuition, he can understand Paramatma. But you are not Paramatma. Alaksham. Alaksham means what? He is invisible. So Paramatma can be perceived and by people who are intelligent. Like we see, there are so many, 24 Gurus section comes in 11th chapter, 11th canto. There Lord Krishna is telling Uddhava, my dear Uddhava, now you just travel over the earth and then go to Badrika Ashram. And in that, what you should do? You just learn from everything you see. And that you can do by your intelligence. You can make your intelligence as your own Guru. Means what? You can understand Paramatma by your intuition. So that is what is Alaksham. So you are not Paramatma also. Then Lord says that, okay, I am not Paramatma. Then am I Brahma, which is all pervading everywhere? Am I that Brahma? No, she is saying, no. You are not that all pervading Brahman also. Why? Because Sarva Bhutanam Antar Bahir Avasthitam. You are situated within. I saw that you entered into womb of Uttara. And then I saw you send Sudarshan Chakra externally also, and you are sitting in front of me also. So you are not that all pervading Brahman. You are something beyond all these things. So her words here are filled with deep import. So this is all revealed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and echoed by Srila Prabhupada in his entire purport. So his entire purport is written in the same theme as Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, where there is such conversation going on between the Lord and his devotees. And they are glorifying the Bhagavan aspect of the Lord. Like going from nephew to, you are not Paramatma, you are not Brahman, you are not Devta, you are not just any Purusha, you are Bhagavan. And for me, it is very difficult to understand who are you. So that's the thing which is being said in the first verse. So Prabhupada's purport writes this explanation only, which just now I said. If you see, So, such enlightened lady could not commit mistake by offering obeisances to her nephew. She could not commit mistake means what? She didn't saw him as her nephew. So Prabhupada writes all the things that how Krishna is Param Purusha, Prakrute, Para, etc. Yeah. So please read the last part which is written by Srila Prabhupada. Oh Queen Kunti.
O Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwatthama Brahmastra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Sri Krishna is all perceived or localized. In fact, he is both, but he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. It is explained as follows.
Prabhupada is giving link for the next verse also. So Prabhupada is telling that personally Kunti experienced something very inconceivable. He is entering in the womb, he is sitting in front of her, and he is protecting by the Sudarshan Chakra. Simultaneously this is happening. So she is wondering whether Krishna is all pervasive or he is means Brahman or localized in one person as in heart of a living entity. So she is expressing like this, puzzled. So what Prabhupada is telling, in fact Lord is both, because he is beyond Brahman and Paramatma is Bhagwan, he is both. But he doesn't reveal to everyone. He reserves the right of not being exposed to a person who are not surrendered the soul. So actually only by pure devotion Bhagavan aspect can be understood and perceived, not by any other kind of practice. So because Lord reveals himself, it is not that you understand the Lord. Because the right of revealing is with the Lord. And Lord decides, he reveals. Right? So that's what is said. So this concept will come in the next verse also. Because the same concept, now alakshatva of the Lord, alaksham sarva bhutana, the Bhagavan aspect, is being explained in the next two verses also. So you see Jiva Goswami saying that alakshatve hetu mari yeta ityadi padadvaya, maya. So next verse. Next two verses are explaining the principle of alakshatva of the Lord, imperceivability of the Bhagavan aspect, what to speak of Krishna, who is Swayam Bhagavan. So that is explained in the next verse. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives this link, which Prabhupada has already given in the previous purport. So link means what? The flow of thought which is happening in the prayer, which makes the whole prayer a beautiful conversation between the Lord and devotee. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, please read that.
Sincerely, internally you protected the child in the womb of Uttara, and externally you protect us by being near us. Should I understand that you are all pervading? I do not know. This is expressed in this verse.
Yeah, so I do not know. So let us next verse. So you can recite with me, not after me. Everyone can be together. Maya javani kachannam ajnadokshajam avyayam nalakshate mudhadrisha naro natyadharo yatha. Please read the translation.
Beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are not invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized.
Yeah. So here he is saying Maya Javanika Channam. Maya Javanika means the curtain of Maya. Javanika means Maya. Javanika means curtain. Maya means made up of Maya. Channam means covered. Ajna. Ajna means I am Ajna. Ajna is I am ignorant. Ajna Bhakti Yoga Anavidnya. Like that is told by Sridhar Swami. Ajna means I am not knowing the Bhakti Yoga and science of Bhakti Yoga. Adhokshajam means you are beyond range of material senses. Adho ukshaja. Adha akshajam indriyam jam jnatam yasmattam. Means what? From A to Z or A to Ksha, whatever knowledge you cover, you cannot understand that. That is Adha. Adha means the knowledge which is perceived by senses, which is written from A to. So by that knowledge is below you. Adha akshaya. Like so that is what is adhokshaya. Avyayam means you are not depletable. So what she is saying that you are covered by the Maya's curtain. So Ajna person like me cannot know you. Like that. And she is giving one example in the next line. That he just as a Muda Drisha means one who is a foolish observer, who has gone for a what you can say music, some Bharatnatyam dance drama. He has gone for that, but he is foolish. He doesn't know much about Bharatnatyam. So he is able to see the dancer, but he will not able to understand. Like in Bharatnatyam, if let us see Jayadeva Goswami's Dashavatar Stotra is being depicted. So different avataras will be depicted by the dancer through different actions and expressions and mudras and like that, right? So, but this foolish actor will never understand. Although he is seeing the dancer, but he will not able to understand. So this is the verse saying, na lakshase muda drisha. Muda drisha, the foolish observer, will na lakshase. Nata natya dharo yatha. So what is the real meaning of this verse? So here, Lord is asking her, is it that you are saying I am covered by Maya? That's why I am not able to understand. So Maya can cover me? Like that Lord is asking her. She said, no. Not that Maya is covering you, just as clouds covers the sun. Similarly, my vision is covered by Maya. So cloud is covering my vision of sun, that is you. I am not able to see because my vision is covered by Maya. That's what I am saying. You are not covered. You are not covered by Maya that way. So like that she is saying. Just as because I am ignorant and I fully depend on my external senses. And you are adhokshaja. You cannot be seen by the material senses. So that's why such people like Duryodhana, although they are in front of you, they cannot see you. That is what is here it is told. Like they will criticize you, but it will not affect you anything. Avyaya means the comments of such Ajna people doesn't affect you, doesn't deplete you. Avyayam. I am also one of them. I am also Ajna. Out of humility, she is saying. Your prabhav is very high and it doesn't get avyayaha. Madrisha nishkushtha janana jnetyatve tava kapi kshatir iti. Your kshati doesn't happen by such comments of these useless people. Avyayam, ajna. So she is saying like that. That my dear Lord, my vision is covered by Maya. That's why I am not able to see you. So now Krishna is saying, how can you say, my dear Kunti Maharani, you are glorifying me so much. You are saying I am Prakriti Para. You are saying I am Purusha, Ajna. So much thing you are telling. And how you are criticizing yourself to be Ajna? You are seeing me right now in front of you. You are saying like that. So she answers that in the next line. So what is the objection of Lord Krishna? Lord is saying, but you see me directly and praise me also. You are praising me also. You are not just seeing, you are praising also, right? Just now you know that I am beyond Prakriti. Then why do you criticize yourself? So Lord is saying, why you are criticizing yourself? You know me properly. So she says that, no, my Lord, I am like that foolish observer. I am seeing Bharatnatyam, but I am not able to understand what is being depicted, which avatara is being depicted. If flower is shown, I don't know. Just as a foolish observer, he will see the movements of Bharatanatyam dancer, but he will not able to grasp anything out of it. So my condition is like that, my Lord. Because he might be showing some nice abhinay, rasa, his nritya, tal. So many things are there in this Bharatanatyam. There are special ragas, all these things. But a Moodadrisha who is not knowledgeable in Bharatanatyam will not able to appreciate fully. So my case is like that, my Lord. I am seeing you and so many pastimes of you, but I cannot understand. My dear Lord, I am seeing that you are protecting Pandavas and you take vow also that I will not take weapons. Then you break the vow. Then your most affectionate ladies like Subhadra and Draupadi are there. But we see that their sons are being killed. And actually you are protector of the most righteous people like Bhishma. But Bhishma is leaving his body. So there are so many complications in your pastimes. I cannot understand your pastime. My Lord, this is her mood. This is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. So similar thing, Srila Prabhupada also in his purport, you see, he quotes that only, that who are covered actually by the. So he quotes more of this Ajna people who are very much foolish and they rebel against the authority of the Lord. So that's what is given by Prabhupada. So Prabhupada elaborately explains that, showing that less intelligent people think that, what is that? Avyaktam Bhaktimapannam Manyate Mam Abuddhaya. Those who have no intelligence, they say that I am originally Avyakta and then I take form as Avatar. Or Avajananti Mamudha Manushim Tanumashita. So thus they deride him. So deriding of the Lord is done by these less intelligent people who don't know my real position. So that verse is being quoted by Prabhupada from Bhagavad Gita here in the beginning. Why? Because they are Avajananti. They rebel against the authority of Lord. But whereas Lord's activities are so wonderful, they can never understand that. So Prabhupada immediately goes to glorify the Lord's activities in Vrindavan. Putana killing, how he killed Putana when he was 3 days old. How he lifted Vardhan when he was 80 years old maximum. Just like an umbrella, How he spoke Bhagavad Gita, such a book of wisdom. So inconceivable, extraordinarily superhuman activities are done. And such personality standing in front of some Kauravas, they are not able to understand him because of their rebellious attitude, because of their wrong attitude towards the Lord. That's why they cannot understand. So Prabhupada elaborately quotes on this particular principle only. He elaborates in his entire purport. So there are characteristics of such people being spoken here. That there is a class of demoniac men who always reluctant to accept the Lord as absolute truth. Always reluctant. There are so many philosophies who say that Lord is dead. Maybe Lord created this world which is so wonderful, but he could not control it. So that's why so many problems are coming. Some people say Lord is dead. So many foolish philosophies are there. So they are always reluctant. And what is their problem? They have great faith on their empiric methods, imperfect senses, and the knowledge acquired by that senses. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. You see, another difficulty is that those who depend more on their imperfect senses cannot understand him as Lord. And third problem is poor fund of knowledge. So they are ignorant. And if you see, this word is very special. I thought about this word, poor fund of knowledge. Means what? Actually, knowledge about God has to be received as charity. Fund means what? Fund is collected like for temple by the will of the donor, isn't it? You may glorify Krishna, but fund is given by the person. So similarly, Lord, this fund is received by the mercy of Lord only. It is not by studying the scriptures and using our intelligence we can understand Lord. By receiving the fund of knowledge in right parampara, we can understand the Lord. Not by poor fund of knowledge, but maybe lot of knowledge. They can study Jiva Goswami's Sandarbha, but taking cigarette also. So they can never understand because of their stubborn obstinacy, Prabhupada says. Partially due to their stubborn obstinacy. So they don't accept. There is no level of acceptance because the faith is on their own intelligence. And that is because of their past misdeeds. So Prabhupada analyzes this a lot here, right? So the simple solution is Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. So you surrender by accepting the authority of the Lord. You do Pariprashna by giving up your stubborn obstinacy and willing to accept what is said in Parampara. And then by rendering service, we can understand something which is beyond our sense of perception. So that's why these three aspects address these three aspects which are meant here. Otherwise, it's not possible. So that's what Prabhupada, the same thing continues. Kunti accepts this deficiency of conditioned soul, especially the woman class who are less intelligent. For less intelligent men, there must be such things as temples, mosques, churches, so that they may begin to recognize the authority of the law. So that's why, see, nowadays, why Prabhupada is writing like this? Because the current day rebellious attitude is more. So that's why what is required, big temples are required, like TOVP. If you tell them that this is so big, biggest temple, then they will come. And if you see big thing, then their ego is so big, but if you say something big, then they can bow down at least there. At least their head can bow down or body can bow down. Because that is required to recognize, to begin to recognize the authority of Lord. How Lord is in control of everything. So such people who have these previous qualities of poor fund of knowledge, stubborn obstinacy and rebellious behavior. So this is what is all pervading. So for that we need temples. And that too big temples, where the ego will become little humble. People come, okay, so big, so okay, we'll go there. Not because Lord, because something big is there. But at least they come and they start offering obeisances, and that's how their spiritual life begins. So Prabhupada that's why says that it is essential. This is the beginning of spiritual life. Is essential, and only foolish men decry the establishment of such places of worship, which are required to raise the standard of spiritual attributes of the mass of people. So this is common consciousness raising happens by these temples. That's why Prabhupada also wanted that. Standard of spiritual attributes of mass of people can be increased by that. But what about as devotee progresses? So he starts engaging in more and more service to the Lord for pleasure of the Lord. So for them what happens? It says that it is for the advanced devotees to meditate upon him by active service. So like Prabhupada himself, he left Vrindavan, which is the best place. He went to a place where there is no temple. But he was caring like this. He's writing here, so he did that. He was meditating constantly on his Guru, and active service he was serving, and he made more temples there. So that's what here in this purport. Now, next verse. So there is connection. Now, Ajna and Mudha Drisha, or the ignorant people, cannot understand you, even if you are in front of them. That's it. So, what about the others? So actually, Srila Jiva Goswami tells very beautifully that, as you saw in this thing, right? That alakshatvam is told in two verses. That is 19th verse and 20th verse. So 19th verse is those who have no qualification, even if Lord is there in front of them, they cannot understand. That is the first category, Ajnan, Mudadrisha. Second category is this, those who are very knowledgeable also, but they also cannot understand it. Dvitiyam anyada swarupatah evendriya Jnati Tattva. Like that. So, now please read the link which is given here for the next verse.
I am
Please.
Can even the omniscient sages and Hamsas who worship you attraction for your sweet pastimes, being ignorant of the truth about your pastimes, know the intricacies of your pastimes. That is expressed in this verse.
Yeah. So, see, I am Ajna and Muda Drisha, and last verse was told that, Ajna and Muda Drisha cannot understand. But even in omniscient sages, see, they worship you, they are attracted to your pastimes, but they also don't fully understand what is intricacy of your pastime. What is your intention in doing this particular pastime? They also cannot know. That is the another side of spectrum. So that is the verse which is telling here. So Kunti Mani actually here exhibiting her humility. She is knowing everything and she is saying, I don't know anything, like that. But actually the Acharyas tell, that's what Prabhupada is saying, most intelligent woman, right? But she is exhibiting the reality of the rarity of understanding intricacies of Krishna's pastime. That's what all her prayers are filled with, the depths of intricacies of Krishna's pastimes. Why he does what he does. So that's why she is telling, these people also could not understand. How he expresses? Text 20. That's what she expresses, this feeling. So together, text 20. Tatha paramahamsana muninam amalatmanam bhakti yoga vidhanartham katham pashyema histriyaha. Yeah. Please read the translation.
You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service unto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can we women know you perfectly?
Yeah. So here, what she is saying, yatha natyadharaha na laksha, alaksha. Tatha paramahamsana munilam amalatmanam also. They also actually, for them, you come as Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartham. What is meaning of Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartham? Bhakti Yoga Vishayam. Vidhanam means Vishayam. Means for Paramahamsas who are completely able to discriminate between matter and spirit and act on the spirit level, on the devotional level. So Paramahamsas can be multiple types. There are devotee Paramahamsas and there are Atmagani Paramahamsas. Both are included here. So they are Muninam, who are deeply learned and inquisitive sages, and Amalatmanam means they are completely beyond the impurity of three modes of material nature. For them also you become the object of their bhakti. So they worship you as object. So who am I? I am a foolish woman. Even Paramahamsas, they worship you as their object of bhakti. How I can understand it? Like that she is saying. So Vidhanam is Vishaya. Bhakti Yoga Vishayam for them all. So those who are Sarvajna Munaya, etc. They can relish the Madhurya, but they will not able to fully grasp the intricacies of Krishna's past. So here Vidhana, there is another meaning of that also, which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives, quoting the most famous verse which we discussed earlier, like the last verse of the Ved Vyas vision, or the last but one, where the Krishna's qualities are glorified. What is that? Atma Ramasya Munayo Nirgantha api urukrame kurvanti tukim bhaktim uttam bhuta guno harihi. So this verse has similar connotation. Paramahamsas, Munis, Amalatmanas, they also do your bhakti as Vishay. So for them also you are Prayojan. So how can we women understand you? Like that she is saying. At the same time, she wants to say this also, that they will relish your pastimes, they will do bhakti, but they will also not able to understand your intricacies of pastime. So this Munaya Paramahamsa Yal Leela Madhuryena Akrishtaha. They get attracted, like Shukdev Goswami got attracted to Krishna's pastime. Bhajanti eva. They will worship you also. Tad bhajan tattvam api avidvamso Leela Lasyam kim jnasasi. They will not understand the intricacies of the past. So that's what she is saying here. So Srila Prabhupada also in this particular purport. Well, he basically Prabhupada's main motive of here telling in purport is Lord can be understood by his mercy. You can see the in between meaning. No, he is knowable only by one who has mercy. This very fact is corroborated by the queen who is playing the part of an innocent woman. So she is knowing this everything. So this verse is there. Nayam atma na pravachenena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shutena. Means what? Nayam atma pravachenena. Not by studying and lecturing on Krishna. Pravachenena labhyo. Na medhaya. Not by very great capacity to hold the knowledge or information. Na bahuna shutena. Not hearing many lectures. Nayam atma pravachanena labhyo na medaya na bahuna shuten. But only when Lord chooses some person, okay, let him understand me, then only you can understand. That's the thing. So panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo. Brahma Samhita also says that the sages run behind that by the speed of the mind, but they can understand only little bit toenail of Krishna. They cannot understand. So who can understand? Only when the Lord blesses them. So that is, women in general are unable to speculate like philosophers, but they are blessed by the Lord because they believe at once in the superiority and almightiness of the Lord and thus offer obeisances without reservation. So now Srila Prabhupada is glorifying the womanly mentality. What is the glory of womanly mentality is this, that naturally they accept the superiority of the Supreme Lord. So that is their glory. So even if they are called to be less intelligent in a particular context, they are best intelligent in terms of accepting the superiority. Why? Because this is their simplicity. So Prabhupada ended writing that only. This simplicity of acceptance of Lord's authority is more effective than showy, insincere religious fervor. So this quality is there in womanly class. That's what Prabhupada is telling. And we see that many Maharajas and many Prabhupada disciples also share in so many lectures that, they start to give lecture somewhere, so many Matajis will come more than Prabhuji. Because naturally they want to hear. So that is very glorious quality which Prabhupada is glorifying. And why Lord doesn't need all these things? The Lord is so kind that he doesn't show special favor only to one who is great philosopher. No. He shows special favor who is simply accepting his authority. So why he shows? He knows the sincerity of purpose. So he sees that class and sincerity of purpose is there, he will give them understanding. So this is the essence of our practice. That what is our sincerity of purpose in doing whatever we are doing. This is the core thing which is written by Prabhupada. Sincerity of purpose of our all activities which we are doing. So this simplicity of acceptance. So when there is the men part has, men machine or men mentality has more of rational thinking. So it takes time for them to accept someone else's authority. But woman has this benefit. So Prabhupada is glorifying that. So this is the first section about how Lord is alakshatva. He is not perceivable, and how he is, why he is not perceivable as a Bhagavan aspect. Now, in further two verses, she is, as we discussed earlier, now I am also like that only. I am also Agya, so I can offer you obeisances only. So that's what she does in the Next verse. Ato aham adnya bhakti yoga anabhidnya kevalam namasyami. Like that Sridhar Swami saying. So I am also bhakti yoga anabhignya, means I also don't know much about bhakti yoga. So what I can do, my Lord, I can offer you obeisances. That much only I can do. Like that she is saying. So she is offering very beautiful prayer, very deep prayer actually. In the text 21. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Yeah, please read the translation.
Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who hath become the son of Vasudeva, pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and other cohort men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of cows and senses.
Yeah. So actually, if you see this particular verse, it may appear that they are just names of the Lord, right? Krishna, Vasudeva, Devaki Nandana, and they are names only. But what is her mood? That is revealed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So what is this section talking about? Sukha Pradatva and Tapa Haritva. So Lord is Sukha Pradatva. The Lord is giver of happiness. So he is giving happiness to different people. If you see in this particular verse, there are different devotees. Names of the Lord are in connection with different devotees. Vasudeva, Devaki Nandana, Nanda Gopa Kumara. So what is being said here is very deep, what she is saying. So basically, she is telling that you are a giver of happiness, everyone. But there is taratamya in that. There is some gradation in happiness which you are giving. And what is that gradation? Let us try to understand from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So first she is addressing Krishnaya, means my dear Lord, you are Amsi. You are the original Swayam Bhagavan. So first I offer my obeisance. Namo Namaha, 2 times. Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Okay. So Vasudevaya. So Vasudeva is very fortunate. Because of whom I have also become fortunate. Why? Because Kunti's connection to Krishna is through whom? Vasudeva only, no? She is his sister. So Vasudeva is very fortunate because he is your father and he is my brother. So my connection comes through him and he is fortunate to be your father. That's why you are called Vasudevaya. So I offer obeisance. But my dear Lord, Devaki Nandanaya cha. Devaki is more fortunate than Vasudeva. Why? Because you gave pleasure to her by drinking her breast milk, by becoming her son, sitting on her lap. That is more intimate, isn't it? That is more fortune of Mother Devaki over Vasudeva. Tato adhik premavati Devaki dhanya. Why? Devaki nandayasi tadiya garbhe sthityam sarvatopi samruddhamatim karoshi. By staying in her womb, you made her most fortunate because from there all samruddhis, all the opulences are going to come in future, right? So Devaki's womb, all the demigods came and offered prayers, right? So you gave pleasure to Devaki and you created auspiciousness for everyone from that womb. So that's why Devaki is more fortunate. But wait, after Devaki, whose name is taken? Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. Who is Nanda Gopa? Nanda Maharaj. Nanda named Gopa. But what is told here? Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. So what is speciality of Devaki over Nanda Maharaj is more fortunate. Why? Because Kumaraya means Nanda Maharaj and Vrajvasis could experience Krishna's Kaumar Leela, the childhood pastimes which Devaki could not experience. Devaki has to leave you immediately and then see you after 11 years only. But Nand Maharaj could relish your Kumar Leela Madhuryam. Sa eva aswadayam asa iti bhavaha. Means, that's why Prabhupada writes in the book that Kumar Leela is very special. So it was witnessed by only Vrajvasis, right? So that's why Nand Maharaj is more fortunate. Because Kumaraya means childhood pastimes happened. He was the one who was the part of the pastimes very intimately. So he is more fortunate. Fine then. Who is more fortunate than Nand Maharaj? Naturally. Who is next most fortunate? Yashoda. But do you see any word of Yashoda here? No, Yashoda word is not there. But Yashoda is specifically glorified later. Separately. One specific shloka is there for Yashoda. So she is not mentioning her now. But more than Yashoda, who is fortunate? So you see, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, what is the last address to Krishna? Govindaya Namo Namaha. So Govinda is the name given by Krishna when? When the name was given? Govinda?
After Indra?
Yeah, after the pastime of this, as you said, Govardhan Leela, right? So that is his Kaishore time. So means Govindaya refers to the giver of pleasure to the senses of the gopis. So gopis are mentioned in this particular address to Krishna. But not explicitly, but implicitly, that they are the most fortunate. Because you personally give the pleasure to their senses fully. So that is Govindaya Namo Namaha. Now one may say that all other names are taken very explicitly. Why not Gopi's name explicitly? No, the Gopi's names are not taken explicitly because it's most confidential. And actually, Dwarkavasis also knew all these things actually. In the sense of Krishna loves the Vasis more than us. Because when Krishna was sleeping, he would always call names of gopis and his friends. And her loving wives, who are selfless devotees, they will think that we are serving and pleasing him, but he is thinking about someone else. So we want to hear about them. And that's how the Jagannath pastime comes, right? Means Jagannath form. Rohini Devi narrates them. So they were knowing that Krishna loves Vrajvasis, especially the gopis. But they would never explicitly talk about Vrajvasis or gopis in front of Krishna or in front of anyone. Why? Because once you talk, Krishna will go in ecstasy. He cannot control himself. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says 3 reasons why she did not take the name of gopis. Although they are the most fortunate. She is directly indicating. Krishna is understanding. But 3 reasons are there. That asadharanyena means it is extremely unique. Asadharan means it is not for sadharan people. The ordinary people should not be expressed this thing. That is first reason. Second thing is tad aswaka janas rahasya. Means that aswadana of Madhurya Ras, the aswadak jana, that is gopis, their confidentiality. That is the second reason. And third reason is her own personal inappropriateness, because Swiya Rasa Aswadana Anauchityana means her personal inappropriateness, in the sense of she is like aunt, right? So she is like Vatsalya Ras. That's how she appreciates the Vatsalya Ras of Yashoda separately after few prayers. So that's why these 3 reasons. Not tankita, she does not spoke explicitly. So that's how this particular verse is telling the glory of Krishna being the highest giver of pleasure to the gopis. The highest form of Krishna is Kaishore Krishna, which is the source of all others. Even Kaumar Krishna, Balya Krishna is coming from. What to speak of Dwarka and Mathura and all other avatars. But it is starting. So like that, this verse which we chant before Bhagavatam is very, very beautiful. So Srila Prabhupada also mentions these things indirectly by telling from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purport. So Queen Kunti specifically adores incarnation or descent of Lord Krishna above all other incarnations because this particular incarnation he is more approachable. So very interesting, Prabhupada compares here. More approachable means Krishna was there in Vrajavasi, Vrajavasis could easily pick him up. But even Lord Ram, how many people could pick us? So Krishna was more approachable and accessible than Lord Ram. So Krishna is more merciful than Lord Ram, he says, right? Because of more approachable. So then he also grades like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said. So we already discussed that. That's what Prabhupada says. Nanda Yashoda are more fortunate, etc. because of childhood pastimes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore confirmed that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Rajbhumi. So see, all the things are mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna as Govinda is more inclined to Brahmanas and the cows, indicating thereby that human prosperity depends more on these two items, namely Brahmanical culture and cow protection. Lord Krishna is never satisfied where these things are lacking. So Prabhupada at the end is bringing the cultural and the current aspect where cows, so he is giving another meaning of Govinda also, who takes care of cows. So he expressed all the things. See, Prabhupada, when is Prabhupada writing purport, he is taking all the Rasik things from Vishwanath and he is seeing the current society, that also he is giving. So very, very amazing purport of Srila Prabhupada. He is establishing the highest form of worship of gopis through quoting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are all things there in this particular verse. So next, so this verse is telling the Sukha Pradatvam, how Lord gave happiness, but he gave happiness from Vasudev to gopis in a higher and higher and higher way. So now, next verse, Tapahayitvam is told. So the feeling of Kunti is like, actually I am not fortunate like all these people whom I spoke about, Devaki, Nanda Maharaj, Vasudeva, and what to speak of gopis, Yashoda. But still you are also giving me pleasure by now giving your darshan. Your form is like so giving pleasure to the eyes. So she is glorifying. Namah Pankaja Nabhaya, Namah Pankaja Maline, Namah Pankajatraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. Yeah. Please read the translation.
Be respectful, my respect to
Sound is not coming.
My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with the depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glass is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotus.
Yeah. So this is specifically speaking about Krishna's beauty, which is personally now experienced by Kunti Maharani. And she is saying that, I am not as fortunate as them, but you are removing our tapa also by giving your darshan, right? So she being an ant, she is offering obeisances not from the feet, which is the ideal thing, right? First she is saying Namo Pankaja Nabhar. Your lotus navel is like lotus, beautiful. Namah Pankaja Maline. You have wore very nice garland of Pankaja. Actually here when they are offering, it is so beautiful. 1, 2, 3 days we saw, very, very beautiful. Now lotuses are coming. So Pankaja Maline. Namah Pankaja Netraya. So your eyes are like lotus petal. They go till your ears, like lotus petals, beautiful, very big. And then she is saying, Namaste Pankajangraye. Then she is going to the lotus feet. So she is actually, Prabhupada brings out this very special point in his purport, that he doesn't want to make Krishna uneasy by offering obeisances to lotus feet first. Because being an ant, he is a nephew. So she also understanding feeling of Krishna. So she is offering obeisances from here, then going to the lotus feet, and then lastly she is offering to the lotus feet. So Prabhupada in his purport elaborately speaks about, he brings out the lesson of how we should take darshan of the deity from the lotus feet to the lotus face. Not that we go and directly see the beautiful face of the Lord. No, we should see the lotus feet first. Similarly, we should approach Bhagavatam also. Just as, because first two cantos right now are that only, lotus feet of Krishna, which will, by study, will have right spirit of servitude to approach all other cantos where everything else will come. And then will come the 10th canto. The same case here is told. The darshan of the deity, darshan of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should approach in a proper cultural way and a systematic way. That is one lesson which Prabhupada elaborately gives. And then Prabhupada tells that importance of Archa Vigraha also. What is the purpose of Archa Vigraha, etc. So that he tells about there are different forms of Lord which are made by 8 items, including mind. Mind is one of the 8 items. And then other is soil, and then there is metal, there is sand, there is wood, or there is paint, or there is mind, etc. Like that he says. So all these things are there in the Prabhupada's purpose. First part he tells about special features of Lord. So this already we discussed, Archa Vigraha. So Archa Vigraha becomes merciful for everyone. And it tells Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, like Pankajanabha. That also is meaning of Pankajanavi. From which the lotus comes, so he writes that also, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And lastly, this already I told, one should begin to see the Lord from lotus feet, etc. And Srimati Kunti, because of her being aunt of the Lord, did not begin to see the Lord form at the lotus feet because Lord might feel ashamed. Thus Kunti Devi, just to save painful situation for the Lord, began to see the Lord just above his lotus feet. That is from waist of the Lord gradually rising to the face and then down to the lotus feet. In the round, everything there is in order. So this is amazing thing which Prabhupada brought out. So now the next 2 verses are telling very beautifully about Swatapa Haritva. So that's what we saw. Na? So we'll just quickly, like we saw in the Swatapa Haritva, remembering Krishna's benefiting activities for particularly herself. So very beautiful 23rd verse is there, and 24th verse is just a list of different calamities when Krishna saved him. So 23rd verse is essential to discuss. So we'll discuss that and then we'll try to have some discussion if required. So very beautiful verse which is expressing her how personally Krishna removed my distress. So she is telling, while she is comparing herself with Devaki, very beautifully in this particular verse. So you can recite after me because these words of this verse, the meanings are required. So please mark the words also. Yatha Rishikesha Khalena Devaki Kamsena Ruddhati Chiram Shucharpita Vimochitaham Sahajatmana Vibho Vayaivanathe Namoho Dvipadganat. Yeah, please read the translation.
O Rishikesha, master of the senses and the lord of the lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious King Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers.
Yeah. So now he is remembering the upakaras done to her specifically in these 2 verses. That's what Siddhartha Swami says. That 23 and 24. She remembers the upkar done by Krishna. So swatapaharitvam darshayati. And here, this is Jiva Goswami, just one word he is quoting, but beautiful. He said, Tvayaiva nathena. Means you are only acted like my nath. Because my husband was already gone, Pandu was gone. And I didn't have anyone. Even Baldev also did not help, but only you helped. Tvayaiva. So he is writing, Tvayaiva Baladeva Syapya Anyatra Pakshapat Darshan. Baldev took part of Duryodhana. But you, only you remained our nath. So Tvaya Eva says that particular one thing he is quoting. Then, so this particular verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains very beautifully. So what she is saying, actually she is comparing herself with the Devaki, saying that I am protected more than her. And what is her mood? That I am Ati Dina, I am more wretched or more fallen. So you are more merciful to me. So she is saying this word. Hey Rishikesha. No, Yatha Rishikesha. Rishikesha means she is saying, my dear Lord Krishna, you only can understand my heart. No one else can understand my heart. Actually, a devotee can sure enough understand that Krishna will understand every feeling, every thought we get in our life. Every experience we are undergoing, Krishna can understand. Whether others understand, don't understand, that doesn't matter in one sense. But Krishna understands. That's what she is saying. My dear Rishikesha, you on mad antakaranam tameva janas. Only you know my antakaran. How? Because yatha Rishikesha khalena devaki kamsena da. So, my dear Lord, I was delivered, but I was delivered along with my son. So you have special kripa on me. Although I was greatly in distress, Sucharpita, I was experiencing my own karma only, but still in that great misery, you were the one who were like husband for me. Tvayaiva nathena. Devaki had a Vasudeva as nath, but I didn't have anyone, but you were there for me. And you were not only there for me, but you were there for my children also. Whereas Devaki's children, actually, you didn't protect, actually, right? So, she is telling that. Having said that, she says, now, Ratha Rishikesha Khalena Devaki Kamsena Riddha Ati Chiram Sucharpita. So, for Devaki, she has to, in one sense, she has to suffer for a long period. After that, you appear. And for me, you appeared again and again. So many dangers. So she is comparing now very nicely. So what she is saying, that why you protected me along with my children many times? Because I didn't have any husband. So I cannot have another children. Whereas Devaki, Vasudeva was there, so they can have more children, right? So this is the thing. More than that, both of them, Devaki, Vasudeva, were aware about you are going to appear in their womb. So they were in greatly eagerness, waiting for you to appear. Because you being child is like apatya chudamani. You are the best of the child, right? So there was not much loss by losing Nikrushta, the inferior 6 garbhas before. So although mother will feel distress, but it will not be so much. Why? Because you are going to come. So they are in great anticipation for that. So they did not have much distress when they lost 6 children in that sense. Not that much distress. Whereas what is my case? Muhu punarapi vipad ganaha. Means I got so many host of calamities. Whereas their case was different. You helped only once. Sakrudeva Kamsa Hetuko Ya Vipad Gandha. And that one's help also, actually that Vipad was not so much as my case. I was having host of danger and she was having little trace of danger. Why she is saying like that? Because she is saying that Devaki's thought was, my eighth Garbha will be Krishna. So she had a great anticipation and bliss actually, that Krishna is going to appear in my womb. So that much Vipad Gandha was there, that's all. But for me, Vipad Ganas were there. So that's how she is choosing this word. Atha Rishikesh, Tatha Rishikesha Khalena Devaki Kamsena Ruddha Atichiram Sucharpi. Lastly, she is saying that having this comparison, what is her mood is most important to understand. My dear Lord, you had more mercy on me because I was without naught and I was having hosts of dangers, and you are merciful to most wretched. Dina Bandhu, you are Dina Bandhu and I am Ati Dina. But whereas the Devaki is Premavati, Bhagyavati. I have no love like Devaki. But your name is like, you are Ati Dina, you are Deen Dayal, you are Dinanath, you are Deena Vatsal. So that's how you are merciful to me, who is more fallen or more wretched than Devaki. Actually, Devaki is Premavati. Devaki has love for you. She is my mother, Bhagyavati. But I am more fortunate. So it's not that I am better than Devaki, but Devaki's love is far greater than me, but I am more fortunate. I am more fortunate than her. Although I am more fallen than her. I am suffering my own karma. So this is her mood. So actually, there is one verse in Padyavali, very beautiful verse. One devotee named Jagannath Sen. So this is quoted by Rupa Goswami. He says that Dina Bandhu iti nama te smaran Yadavendra patito aham utsahe. My dear Krishna, when I heard your name Dina Bandhu, when I remember that, hey Yadavendra, I become very enthusiastic. But when I hear Bhakta Vatsalata Tvai Shrute Mamakam Hridayam Ashu Kampati. When I hear your name as Bhakta Vatsala, then my heart trembles because I'm not a devotee. Then how I'll get mercy? So your word, Dina Bandhu, so this is the mood of Devaki. I am fortunate. I am causelessly fortunate. I am not better than Devaki. So that is her mood. So she is very, very wonderfully exhibiting her fortune and expressing her gratitude for protecting from Krishna. So Prabhupada also quotes that Kunti Devi was shown more favor. Because Lord Krishna did not save her children. So Prabhupada writes all these points, few points. The conclusion is that Krishna endows more favor to devotee who is in great danger. Sometimes he puts his pure devotees in such danger because in that condition of helplessness, the devotee becomes more attached to the Lord. The more the attachment for the Lord, the more success is there for the devotee. So here again the same point of dependence is there. So dangers are inevitable in material world. But are we dependent? Are we exclusively dependent? Are we fully dependent? So Krishna reciprocates with that extent of dependence in our heart. So that is the conclusion. Because that's how we express our Sharanagati to the Lord. We don't have any other help. So more favor is given by Krishna. So Prabhupada quotes that conclusion of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also. So that is how this verse is explaining. So the next verse is just telling the different sufferings they experience. So she is recounting her past with great delight and gratitude. So let us just recite and read the translation. Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshana Kasatta Bhayam Manavasa Krichrataha Mridhe mridhene kahmar sahasrato Raunyastaschasma hare virakshitah. Yeah, please read the translation.
My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poison cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from suffering during your exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us with the weapon of Ashwatthama.
Yeah. So she is remembering all the incidences like in a flash, expressing gratitude. So if you see these pastimes, actually Krishna is not there personally involved in the sense of like Vishan Mahagani, Purush. Asata, he appeared as Sari like that. But she is able to see, Hare Ravirakshita, you protected us. And recent was Draunyastratas. So that's how so Prabhupada explains that in that. So fine, it's already the time. So we'll continue with these beautiful prayers tomorrow with the next section. So if anyone has any comment, clarification, some expression or question, they are free to express or inquire. So are there any comments, corrections?